You're in the cereal aisle at the grocery store. Your 3-year-old is holding a box of Cocoa Puffs, and you've already said no twice. You can feel the meltdown loading. So you do what every mother in the next aisle over is also doing right now. You start counting out loud, 1, then 2, and by the time you'd say 3, the box is back on the shelf. It actually worked, and that's the part nobody really wants to admit. Counting to 3 gets compliance fast, even in a grocery store, even on 3 hours of sleep. So why does every gentle parenting book tell you to quit doing it? The real answer isn't that counting traumatizes her. It's what counting trains her brain to listen for. By the time she's 6, it stops working entirely, and she stops hearing anything you say before the threat. The most useful replacement for it is actually the opposite of all the others. Here's why the countdown stops working eventually. Her brain runs on 2 basic floors. The downstairs handles fear, anger, impulse, and the urgent need to grab 1 more box of Cocoa Puffs. The upstairs handles waiting your turn, considering consequences, and remembering we don't throw cereal at our mothers in public. That metaphor comes from a book called The Whole Brain Child by Daniel Siegel and Tina Bryson. Her downstairs brain has been online since birth, but her upstairs brain is still very much under construction. When you count, you're asking her upstairs brain to override her downstairs brain on a deadline. It works often enough that you keep doing it. But there's a trap inside it. The countdown trains her to wait until the very last second to listen. She's learning to stall until the consequence is 1 syllable away. And by age 5 or 6, it stops working entirely. She figures out exactly how serious you are at 3. If the consequence is mild, she calls the bluff and waits you out. If it's harsh, she complies and resents you a little more each time. So here are 7 things that work better. We'll start with the calm moments and work up to the full meltdown. By the end, you'll have a tool for every level of intensity, including the one nobody really warns you about. Number 1 is to give her information instead of an order. This one is so simple it feels like a trick. Instead of telling her what to do, just describe what's true about the situation. Take the classic jacket on the floor moment as an example. Instead of pick up your jacket, you say your jacket is on the floor. Pure information, no command attached. The same swap works almost anywhere. Laptops are delicate, they need light fingers replaces stop banging on the laptop. The cheese is on the floor where the dog can reach it, replaces yelling about the dog. What happens is she stops resisting. Information doesn't feel like being bossed around. It just feels like information. And her brain has to actually engage with it, which pulls her into thinking mode instead of fight mode. What toddlers fight is being told what to do. The activity itself is rarely the issue. I started using this with my older one when she was around 3.5. The first time I said your jacket's on the floor, instead of pick up your jacket, she paused, looked at the floor, and picked it up like it had been her own idea. I remember thinking, oh, so that's all it took. It doesn't work every time, because nothing works every time. But it works enough that you can keep counting in your back pocket as a last resort instead of a first one. Information works when you have time and patience to use it. But you can do this without saying a full sentence at all, and it takes about 1/10 of the energy. Number 2 is to use one word or just a gesture. When even information would be too long, shrink it down to a single word. Make it a noun and not a verb, because verbs come out as commands. Instead of I've told you 3 times now, put your shoes on. The word shoes on its own does the work. Same with seatbelt, replacing the whole speech about getting buckled, or milk for the 14th time today, instead of explaining what goes back in the fridge. The single word does the same job as the full sentence, but faster and lighter. Her brain fills in the rest. She thinks to herself, what about the shoes? Oh, the shoes, right? Then she does it, because the conclusion was her own thought instead of your command. A gesture works the same way. You can point at the seatbelt instead of repeating yourself for the 4th time. Holding up the toothbrush with raised eyebrows says everything you'd otherwise say in 3 sentences. A finger tapped on the spot where the cup belongs gets her to move it without a fight. This is honestly my favorite tool because it takes almost 0 energy. By 4 o'clock most days, I don't have a full sentence left in me. I just have one word in me. Sometimes I only have the gesture. And both of them still work. None of this works when she's actively resisting you. Single words and gestures only land when she's open to listening. There's a way to turn her resistance itself into the thing that gets her cooperating, and the trick is making her think it was her idea. Number 3 is to offer her a real choice. And real matters here, because toddlers can smell a fake choice from a mile away. A real choice is between 2 options you're actually fine with either way. The fake version goes, do it now, or there's a consequence. That's a threat with extra words. A real choice sounds like, do you want to walk to the bath or hop there like a bunny? Or red shirt or blue one this morning? Or want to leave the park in 2 minutes or in 5? Both options end at the same destination. She just gets to pick the route. This works because toddlers spend their whole day being told what to do, when to do it, where to do it, and how to do it. They're looking for any chance to feel like they have a say in their own life. A real choice gives them that. It also pulls her upstairs brain back online because now she has to think and decide instead of just react. One quick warning about this approach. If you give her a choice and she refuses both, don't panic and start adding new options. Just calmly say, if you can't choose, I'll choose for you. Then go ahead and choose for her. She'll probably protest the one you picked. She'll move on a few minutes later. She's getting practice in something a lot of grown-ups still struggle with, which is making decisions and then living with them. All of these tools so far require her to do some thinking, weighing options, processing your words, picking between two things. When she's running on empty, none of them work. What works in that state is something that skips her thinking brain entirely, and it's the tool that feels the most ridiculous to actually do. Number 4 is to get a little playful, even when you don't feel like it. Yes, I know what you're thinking. You didn't have a baby, so you could do voiceover work for an imaginary nail clipper at 6 o'clock at night after a full day of work. But hear me out, because this one sounds like the most effort and is actually the least. Try racing the clock with her. I bet you can't get your shoes on in 20 seconds. Ready, set, go. Or make an inanimate object talk to her. The toothbrush is hungry and wants a snack from her teeth. Maybe the car seat is feeling lonely and needs a passenger. Or the shoes are cold and need a warm foot inside them. Another version is doing the boring task in a different voice altogether. Use a robot voice, a pirate voice, or a sportscaster narrating the brushing of teeth like it's the 7th game of the World Series. I know it sounds ridiculous when I describe it like that, but play is the language she's most fluent in right now. The same instruction that triggers a meltdown when delivered as an order will land as a delight when it's delivered as a game. You're not avoiding the discipline. The bath is still happening. You're just taking the route that doesn't end in a battle. The trade-off is you have to summon a little energy you don't always have. In return, the game version takes about 90 seconds. The countdown that turns into a tantrum, that turns into a meltdown, that turns into a rebooked bath time because she's still screaming version takes about 30 minutes. Pick the difficulty level you prefer. If any of this is helping so far, hit subscribe so the next one finds you. I post a video like this every week on the small stuff that actually moves the needle with toddlers. The 7th tool in this list is going to flip everything else on its head. Number 5 is to put her in charge of the part she keeps refusing to do. This one is about handing over the wheel for whatever's causing the most friction in your day. The fastest version is a timer. If leaving the playground starts a meltdown every time, hand her a small kitchen timer and let her start it herself. Tell her to come let you know the second it goes off. Now she's in charge of the time, not you. A fight that used to take 20 minutes of negotiation lasts 30 seconds. That same logic works on whatever else is wearing you down. The nightly bath fight becomes 2 appointment slots she gets to pick between. The 6 o'clock with Bubbles or the 6:15 with the rubber ducks. For the morning getting dressed battle, you tape pictures of clothes next to a thermometer, and now she tells you what to wear. It sounds elaborate when you bunch them all together like that. Most of them aren't elaborate at all. The timer takes 10 seconds to hand her. You're trading 1 calm minute for the same fight you've been losing every day for 4 months. The math works out in your favor. What she's actually fighting is being told what to do. The bath is just where the fight shows up. Take the telling away and the fight goes too. Every tool so far assumes she's open to negotiation. But sometimes she's testing you instead, and giving her any choice when she's testing you is the worst thing you can do. The right tool for testing moments is the one almost nobody reaches for first, and it feels backwards. Number 6 is to set the limit early and then act once. This is for when she's not just refusing, she's testing you. Maybe she's throwing the toy you just told her not to throw, hitting her sibling right after you said no, or running into the road after you said stop. The countdown version of this looks like, if you do that one more time, I'm going to take it away. Then she does it again, then you say, okay, I really mean it this time. 1, 2, and she stops at 2.5 and you both reset. She's just learned that your limit is theoretical and your real seriousness only shows up at exactly 2.5. The cleaner move is to set the limit one time calmly, and if she crosses it, you act on what you said. There's no yelling and no countdown. You just do what you told her you'd do. In practice, it sounds something like this. Toys aren't for throwing in our house. If you throw it again, I'll put it away on the shelf. Sure enough, she throws it again. You stand up, take the toy, and put it on the shelf. You can absolutely acknowledge how she feels by saying, you're upset I took the toy and I get it. But you don't give the toy back, and you don't repeat yourself 5 more times before you act. Took me forever to figure this out. Toddlers actually feel safer when you act calmly and quickly than when you give 10 warnings and then explode. 10 warnings followed by an explosion are scary to her. Early calm action is reassuring. It tells her you've got this, the lights are on, somebody is in charge, and she can finally relax. There's still one situation none of these 6 tools handle. The one where she's so far gone that no tool of any kind is going to reach her. The 7th tool is the only one that works in that moment, and it's the opposite of every other tool you've just learned. Number 7 is the one I tell every mom about because nobody warned me. When she's already past the point of hearing words, you stop talking entirely. Every other tool we've covered involves giving her something to engage with, a sentence, a word, a gesture, or a choice. The 7th tool is taking all of that away. You give her nothing but your presence, and that nothing is what actually works. Sometimes by the time you'd normally start counting, she's already past the point of hearing anything at all. The box of Cocoa Puffs is on the floor, and she's screaming, full purple face screaming, the kind that makes everyone in the store turn their heads. Her downstairs brain has hijacked the whole building, and her upstairs brain is officially offline. In that moment, every word you say is just noise. The countdown doesn't register with her at all. Neither does use your big girl words or calm down, or we don't behave like this in public. All of it bounces off because the part of her brain that processes language has temporarily gone dark. So instead of talking, do almost nothing. Get down low to her level. Soften your face and drop your shoulders down away from your ears. Say one short thing if you have to, like, I'm here. Then just wait it out quietly. I know how impossible this feels in a grocery store with strangers staring at you. Trust me, I've done it more times than I can count. There was one Target trip where I squatted next to a screaming 3-year-old while a stranger behind me very obviously judged the whole situation. It felt like 20 very long seconds. But by saying nothing during that window, I let her brain actually reboot itself. A minute later, she could hear me again, and we walked out without the kind of meltdown that takes an hour to recover from. The thing nobody tells you is that words don't calm a child whose brain is offline. Having a calm body next to her does. Once she's back online, then you can talk to her. That's when offering a choice or giving information or scooping her into a hug all start working again. But not a second before that. You can't reason with a meltdown. There's just no version of that conversation that works. This is the one tool that replaces counting in the moments where counting was always going to fail anyway. So what to actually do with all this? Look, counting to 3 isn't evil. It's not going to permanently wreck your kid. If you used it yesterday, you'll probably use it tomorrow, and you're still a fine mother. We were all counted at as kids, and most of us mostly turned out okay. But the reason to swap counting out is purely practical. Counting trains her to wait for the threat. The 7 things in this video train her to listen the first time, eventually, and to recover faster when she does fall apart. They build the upstairs brain instead of triggering the downstairs one. You don't have to use all 7 at once. Just pick the one for the moment of the day that makes you the most frustrated. The toothbrushing battle, the car seat fight, the leaving the park drama, or whatever yours is. Try it for a week and see what happens. If this video helped, the one on screen is about whining and how to handle it without falling into the begging spiral that makes everything 10 times worse. I'll see you over there.